nostalgia. This series is one that is close to my heart. Not as close as its spin-off sister series, but nonetheless, I grew up as a huge fan of Hercules, The Legendary Journeys. I actually did a podcast with the Bastard of the King's Grave, talking about Hercules and Xena. I'll link to that podcast. It was from a while ago, but I figured since I was doing this, I might as well discuss it. So I decided to buy the first season of Hercules because I don't remember Hercules as well as I remember Xena. And it's really sad because I remember watching the show every single day with my mother. It'd be this, Xena, Jack of all trades, and Aquila Patch 2525. You know, girl, I was all up in that. And then, you know, Xena stayed on. I watched that the entire time. And then Hercules kind of faded into it because everyone was like more for Xena and how it handles certain elements more. But at the same time, I was like, let me go back and watch Hercules and see how I feel about it now as a mature person. And basically, I came to this kind of point. Hercules is fun. Like, it is very camp. It is more lighthearted than Xena, which is weird considering that this episode opens with his entire family being killed. Like, you would think that that would be like, oh shit, this is hardcore. But it's like, oh, he just goes around saving people and he's so cool and he's so awesome. Go Hercules! Go Hercules! Go Hercules! So, that sort of, so the tone is not as dark as Xena, which I think is why people sometimes prefer Xena. But I feel like Hercules, for not being a necessarily dark show, it's still fun. It's still entertaining. And I feel like the effects in this show are actually still pretty good. You know, I was kind of laughing during the first season of Xena because there's an episode where they're falling from a cliff and it's kind of like, ooh, that's CGI. Ooh, you was hardcore back then. Ooh, it just looks so, you can just tell, like, it's so grainy and weird, and you're just like, oh yeah, I hit it. You can just tell so bad. And even in this, there's this part where, like, they're fighting Ares' little dog monster. The CGI that will have you rolling in the deep. It is just so hilarious. Just the way you can tell how they had to, like, cut corners because they couldn't do full on and how they had to change stuff in. It's just so funny looking at that now as an older person and knowing how technology has changed. Like, I'm just imagining how they could do this now and how much more they could, you know, do because they would have a bigger budget and they could do all these special effects and make all these monsters, like, really hardcore looking. But nonetheless, it has that kind of, like, charm of looking back and be like, aw, yeah, I remember back in those days when I had to do those kind of, like, you know, weird, because, like, all the best part is the centaurs, because, like, the centaurs are, like, because they'll have their bodies here, and the centaur and the horse bodies, but the horse bodies will be going, like, all over the place, and the body will, like, the upper half will often not match the bottom, so, the person will try to be staying still, but the horse is kind of like, yeah, I'm not staying still, dude. This is ridiculous. And so those little things are just really funny. Those little, like, little cinema and cinematography things. But yet they managed to do a lot about it. Because, I mean, those are things that are, like, really important. You have to have centaurs. You have to have these Medusa monsters, these snake monsters. And so they really did make the effort to try to make this show work with the budget and the technology considerations that they had for that time. Now, in terms of the story, and, of course, with mythology, this and Xena are very lax about certain things. I mean, the mythology is not horrible. Like, I thought it was going to be a lot worse. But they did take liberties, but it's not that bad in comparison to other things. I feel like it is what it is. And I feel like I'm also biased because it is a part of my nostalgia. So I don't really hate it as much as I would later things that came after it. But that being said, I did have a few problems with a few ways that they kind of interpreted the character and things like that. Like, I feel like much like Disney Hercules, this Hercules is similar in the fact that this is Superman. Like, this isn't Heracles. This is not, or even Hercules. This is not anything that had to do with those people besides, you know, 12 labor kind of illusions in it. This is Superman. This is the story of, you know, son of man comes, saves the day, is a big hero, which is not really what Heracles was. He was kind of a dickhead sometimes, you know. He wasn't a perfect, you know, blue-eyed hero that he is in Kevin Sorbo's Hercules or even in Disney Hercules. They kind of removed that to make him the more generic hero. But they make up for that with Xena, who's the more darker heroine. But still, they really removed the greater, like, even the death of his family. Like, in the original myth, he, while being, you know, possessed by Hera, or kind of enchanted by Hera, kills his own family. Where in this, that responsibility, that guilt is taken away from him and just given completely to Hera. She's just the evil bitch who did it. She's horrible, so on and so forth. So it really mutes him down in order to put him to the stature where he is more of a Superman character than any Greek hero. The other thing is, I'm biased in this too. I like Hera. She's one of my favorite in the Greek Parthenon. I mean, yes, she's a bitch and she be tripping. I don't act like she everywhere. I mean, you know, you cannot give birth on land. Girl, come on. It's too much. Turning people into cows and crying on that's a little too much. But at the same time, I feel like because of the angle they want to put in this show, they remove all aspects of that kind of like, not moral ambiguity, but they make the character of Hercules so removed from who he is that you don't really understand like why Hera hates him, because Hera doesn't just hate Hercules. I hate calling him Hercules personally. I can't. It bothers me. But she hates Hercules in this because he's just one of Zeus's children and that affair. And it just sounds so weird because it's like he had a lot of kids for a lot of affairs. I mean, you know, if child support had to be paid, Zeus would never have a cent, you know. And they really don't really explain why she hates him so much, other than that he's just, you know, that bastard kid. Where I feel like what you understand from the myth is just, it's not that he's just a bastard kid, but in Greek mythology, his name is Heracles. His name means glory to Hera. His existence, his name is a mockery of her, and that's why she hates him so much. And, you know, even though her actions are not excusable by that nature, but at the same time, all gods are dicks, you know. None of them are going to be very nice to you. If you mock them, they're going to hate you for the rest of their life. They'll kill you. They'll rain arrows on all your children because you mocked their mama. Like, they crazy. But they just remove all of that in order to put like Hercules on this pedestal, which I don't really care for that, because it's just kind of like, of course Hera is the one who's the only evil one. Like, no one blames Zeus for this, you know, he will fuck anything with a hole, but Hera's the crazy one because she's mad about that. You know, whatever, they didn't really have it. I mean, she's the goddess of marriage, for goodness sake. She's not gonna be happy about it. Like, that's just a slap in the face. Sorry, that was a tangent. Sorry. But that one I wasn't crazy about. I understand why they had to do that, because it does make sense, because that's the person who hates him the most. It makes sense. But they just really, like, they make her, like, she acts for human sacrifices. Like, they really up the ante, instead of her just being, like, this jealous woman who hates him, and her anger is directed towards him for, not a legitimate reason, but for an understandable reason. She's just kind of like, no, she's just this evil bitch. She's the worst one. She's crazy. She hates people. She will destroy everything. Like, they demonize her so much that I just kind of like, really, guys? It's a drop in the bucket. The other thing that kind of made me laugh, though, was just sometimes, most of the time, they'll just be very general with mythology, you know, god of war, god of this, blah, blah, blah. They'll mix and match stuff and kind of move things along, but they kind of stick to, like, the basics of, you know, the mythology. Anything you can get out of, like, a 2-cent book about it, they pretty much have. Except sometimes they'll make little slip-ups and little things that'll be like, oh, really, like, how did that happen? Like, you know, Hercules instead of Heracles. But everyone does that, too. But the big one that I thought was just so hilarious is that they were doing this wedding thing. They were doing some kind of celebration. And Alcmene, who was Hercules' mother, says, I'll be as happy as Venus and Adonis. I'm just kind of like, what? Venus? Who taught you Venus? Who taught you Venus? How do you know about Venus? How do you know what Venus is? You in ancient Greek? What? I had to pause it. I was kind of like, how did you mess that up, though? Like, that's like mythology basics 101. Aphrodite, like, how do you mix that up with somebody else? It blew my mind. I was kind of like, I don't understand this. I don't understand how you did this, but what do I know? A lot, but still. It was like, those little things were just kind of like, eh. But overall, like, it's still fun. The one thing I gotta say, though, is Kevin Sorbo. Alright, you's very attractive. I mean, your shirtless scenes I definitely enjoyed. And you definitely do the action sequences really well. And he can totally do that kind of, like, charming, you know, he's Superman, and that kind of, like, he embodies that kind of, like, you know, Boy Scout idea in him. Like, he plays that really well. However, that his range is very limited. Like, the sad scenes where, like, his wife and children have just been killed. It's like, can I get, like, that one tear, though? Like, can I get that Denzel? That nothing. Like, he can't play those scenes. He's not a very emotional actor. So when he has to go beyond doing the whole kind of, like, I'm nice Hercules and blah blah, it kind of falls flat. He just cannot play those roles very well. Bless him though. Bless him, because I do like Kevin Sorbo. I do like him. He's just endearing, but that's pretty much it. Like, he cannot emote for the life of him. Thank God he has Iolaus by his side, who is such a fun character, even though he's like, fuck this guy sometimes. He's just so much fun. He's so jovial. He's so, like, ready to fight and, you know, skip around. He's just a really fun, endearing character. And he's played so well, like, what the fuck, who's the actor who plays him again? I forget. I think it's like Kevin Hurst or something like that. He's just a really fun actor. I think that's the basic way to sum up the series. It's fun. Like, if it's part of your childhood and you watch it again, you'll probably still enjoy it. For people who are coming into it who have never seen it, I don't think it would work that well. I think that it's that kind of, I mean, it's kind of weird, because I feel like if you watch Supernatural and you enjoy that, you could probably still enjoy the kind of, like, campier 90s shows, because even though Supernatural can get into, like, the deep stuff sometimes, it does have that element of camp and fun that is so 90s, that is so Buffy and Charmed and all that kind of stuff. Like, it has that element to it, and I think that this and Xena have it as well. But I feel like if I were going to recommend people to either watch Hercules or Xena, I would tell them to try Xena instead. I feel like it has that kind of element to it that makes it more acceptable to an audience today. Or I think Hercules, I think mainly season 1 has its kind of like ups and downs. So I don't think it's a bad, and I definitely think that it's a fun show. I wouldn't feel as comfortable recommending this as I would recommend Xena. Xena does appear in this season, which was really fun, seeing her be that dark character. She makes that heel face turn, though, mad quick. I was just like, girl, really? Like, that was really quick, though. But, you know, Superman dick, it'll do things to you. But, overall, I feel like Hercules was really weird. It was exactly as I remembered it, to be quite honest. Like, I can't say I'm disappointed or over enthusiastic about Hercules. It was what I remembered it being from the little bit I remembered. It was fun. It was enjoyable. I could sit down and watch, you know, the 45, you know, minutes of it and just be like, yeah, I had a good time. And that was basically it. It was not, you know, it's not perfect. It's not, you know, anything like that. But it's also not horrible. I wouldn't even say, like, it's average in a lot of ways. But it's just so much fun that you forget that it's average. And I think that that's really a strong point of it. It manages to go beyond the limitations of its story. Like, it drops you in, and you can enjoy the characters and, you know, seeing the mythology, even though some of it's kind of wonky at times. It's something that's fun, and you can sit down and watch it and really be interested in it. It doesn't have the same kind of character arc so far, but then again, it's a season 1, and it's also short. Like, I thought it was going to be a lot longer, but I think it's only, how many episodes is it? I think this was only 14 episodes, which is surprising because the first season is like 24 or 22. But, of Xena. But still, so far, so good. I mean, it's an average season. There's not really a lot of character building, per se. We do see Hercules being in one emotional state in the beginning of the show to being in a different one in the end, which I think is decent for the amount of time that supposedly has passed since the events of his wife's death. And it's still fun. I think that you can watch this and get something out of it. I feel like it's easier if you're already familiar with it and know it's going to be campy. Like, if you want a serious, dark character study, whatever, this is not that. So, Hercules is pretty much what I expected it to be. It wasn't better, it wasn't worse, it just was. And I think that's not really a bad thing. I mean, I feel more excited to watch the second season of this than I do feel more excited to watch the second season of Sabrina. And I really like Sabrina, but I feel like if I watch the second season of this, I'll get more from it than I would out of the next season of Sabrina. So, say that what you will. I think that it's worth checking out again. However, so the next things I'm going to be doing on my Nostalgia Wash will be, I already watched season 1 and 2 of Xena, so I'm going to watch season 3, and then I'm going to review the first 3 seasons of Xena, so I'm really excited, because I think it's really fun, and I've really enjoyed watching it. Then after that, I have a special Nostalgia Wash that I am going to be watching, and that is Justice League, the complete series, which is just arrived, and it smells so good. Just like, look, I remember just opening, just staring at it for like so long, like, look at them, look at my babies, look at them. Ah, my babies. Oh my god, I love this fucking show. And I'm probably gonna do, I might do a 2-part, because I'm probably gonna do Justice League, and I'm going to do Superman the Animated Series. So after Xena, that's what you will be looking forward to. I had to watch all 96 episodes, but I can do that. Like, I could do that probably in like 3 days if I didn't eat or sleep, and why would I want to, considering